A lot of laughs, big boy.
We've had a lot of laughs, and I'm afraid today there are going to be a lot of tears. This is a very emotional day for me, and having spent all the time I have with you and with Yid and with Tom and Chris and Jim Day and Jeff Picoro and Brian Giesenslaw, and the list goes on and on and on. It's going to be very, very difficult for me in the months ahead, and if I love everybody as much as I do, it would be easy to walk away from this job and never look back.
Well, the thing that you have, Marty, and you say this, and I don't know that everybody understands it as much as you and I do. You may be stepping away from the mic, but you're not stepping away from your buddies.
Nope.
And it's not like you're leaving here and shutting it down forever. I mean, you got your health. You're going to be able to do whatever you want to do when you want to do it. And as we used to say when we were playing, now you get to pick your own friends.
I've used that comment on more than one occasion. Luis Castillo capping off a big, big season today, and it would be awfully nice, at least from our perspective, to see him walk away from here with his 16th victory of the season.
Boy, it would be nice. I think when you look back at the year that Castillo has had, even though the last month probably has been a little bit different for him, but I think that any young pitcher being able to have the start that he had, especially the all-star start that he had, you have to figure out a way as you move along, when you start to feel that fatigue, still be able to pitch.
Well, we're set to play baseball. It'll be Trent Grisham, the young man who has been with this ball club now approaching 50 games. He's opened up some eyes. He's a left-handed batter. He comes in with a .250 batting average, and the first pitch from Castillo is taken high a ball, and this game is underway. First pitch presented by Belterra Park, Cincinnati. One amazing place to play, and the 1-0 delivery is swung on and hit in the air. Left center field, Van Meter in left, Urban in center, and Van Meter will make the catch for the afternoon's first out.
A little bit of a sideways turn by Van Meter, trying to guard his eyes from the sun.
You made a comment to me an hour or so ago about how us who have been around this game as long as we have, and you go into a final month of the year and a club comes up that's trailing and trying to catch up, and the first reaction is they don't have much of a chance. It simply cannot happen. Here's Grandal, and he hits it in the air, and that'll be behind third and foul ground down the left field line. And the late approach to the ball by Van Meter means the ball falls free, and against a guy like Grandal, you don't want to give him a second chance. But that ball hit on the ground in front of Van Meter and also the third baseman Suarez, and it's nothing but a strike. This team right here is proof positive, based on what their month of September has been like, that yes, it can be done.
I think that when you get to this game, it is from the neck up. You hear that so many times, but it's even more so true when you get into the end of August and September. Everyone's tired. The ones that have that extra bit of drive and extra bit of perseverance, they're the ones that win. Look out.
Well, a swing at a miss by Grandal, and that bat hit the netting in front of the Reds' first base dugout and went back downstairs. I don't believe we've seen that. That ball had some serious line drive on it, and Grandal walks back toward the Reds' dugout to pick it up, and now will step back in with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. And again, what makes it even more impressive is that they have done it without arguably the best player in this league for 2019.
And they've done it 2 years in a row.
Yep.
September for this Milwaukee club was awfully good last year.
And a great changeup thrown to Grandal, and he is out on strikes. The first of the afternoon for Luis Castillo, and will go to work now on the second baseman, Keston Hiura, with 2 out.
We have seen that bat toss and guys fall down at the plate in different really embarrassing swings against Castillo from day one. It's just the nature of the changeup, how good it is, how effective it is, and how much it looks like his 97-mile-an-hour heater.
And the first pitch to the right-handed batting Hiura is taken for a strike. So trying to retire the Reds in order here in inning number 1 is right-hander Luis Castillo. He sights a sign from battery mate Casale and delivers high a ball. Our plate umpire is Doug Eddings. Chris Conroy, the umpire, at first. At second, Chad Whitson. And the crew chief over at third, Bill Miller. Well, that's the lineup of umpires as Castillo comes back with a break-even pitch, and it's swung on, hit up the middle, deflected by Castillo to second baseman Peraza. He throws him out.
Good deflection.
And indeed it is. It'll go 1-4-3. So of the first inning, and 31-year-old Chase Anderson is Greg Council's pitcher today. 27th time he's been to the mound as a starter in his 32nd appearance overall. 7-4 with a .430 earned run average for this native of Wichita Falls, Texas. Lifetime, he's 5 up and 5 down against the Reds, and he's 0-1 in his only decision this season against Cincinnati. He goes to work on leadoff batter Jose Peraza, swinging, pop-up, infield, foul territory on the right side, and catch is made by first baseman Eric Thames. And this you might construe, based on the early returns, that this is a getaway game today because the boys are swinging at early pitches.
Yeah, I think when you look at Chase Anderson, that type of offensive approach would actually benefit him. He's not a guy that Craig Counsell is going to allow to get much past the 85, 87 pitch mark. There are times, and it seems like Counsell's able to read this guy perfectly. He'll pitch 6 innings, throws the ball well like he did in his last start, or he'll pitch 4 innings.
First pitch to Joey Votto is in for a strike. So Votto with a .267 average. He's homered 15 times, 47 RBIs a season. By his own admission, that has been a terrible year for him. The 0-1 coming, and that one is fouled out of play, and quickly he's in a hole at no balls and 2 strikes. I would imagine, based on the comments and the way he addressed the questions, that he feels like he's got something to prove going into the offseason as you look toward the 2020 year. Pitches down and in a breaking ball that Grandal throws out of play, and plate umpire Doug Eddings puts a new one in play. It's only 74 degrees here in Cincinnati, and take it from me, if you're not here at the ballpark, it feels a whole lot hotter than that.
It feels like it's 94.
It really does.
But maybe that's just the stress that we're feeling on this day.
Could be
Our
mine.
blood pressure might be up a little bit.
I tell you what, the day started for me driving down to the ballpark. I got a phone call from Joe Girardi. He's always been one of my favorite guys, but never more so than taking the time to give me a call coming down here today. He rendered me to tears in my car driving down to the ballpark, and I will forever be indebted to him and have a sense of gratitude about Joe Girardi, because it was a very, very thoughtful call. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Votto with Aristides Aquino waiting in the on-deck circle. Here's a wind of the pitch by Anderson, and Joey takes strike 3. And I think he knew it. He was hoping against hope that fastball down, and plate umpire Eddings said strike 3. So Votto's gone, and in his place comes the right fielder Aristides Aquino with 2 out.
I think you look at the inward look of Joey Votto and his comments that he made, and we have seen him do, or we've heard them do this before, but I think it's something that young players can take to heart and probably look as a drive to be better.
Ball 1 to Aquino.
Because there are a few players that will say, I've had a terrible year.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But the best part of this game, to be great,
swing and a miss on a breaking ball down and away.
And there is no doubt Votto has been great, is to keep that chip on your shoulder. I don't care what kind of contract you've got, how many years you have in the big leagues. If you can keep that motivation working, you can play a long time.
Here is a high, deep drive down the left field line. If it's fair, it's good, and it is, and it is.
Wow.
High, towering drive that made it into the second deck in left field. Aristides Aquino with home run number 18 on the year. All of them, by the way, coming since August the 1st. And the Reds have taken a 1-0 lead off of Anderson and the Brewers in the first inning.
Well, you and I have talked about this since that incredible month of August that Aquino had, where he was player of the month and rookie of the month. I think there was a bit of downtime where things really began to turn sideways. Teams really started to change the way they were pitching Aquino, and now he's started to adjust to that change.
Here's Josh Van Meter with 2 out and a run in. Left-handed batter, and the pitch to him is a swing and a miss. A young man who tore up the International League in the early days and weeks of this season, jumped out in front early in the home run race, got the call up, went back down, came back up, and he's gotten his baptism under fire here with the big league ball club. The batting average, nothing to write home about at 236, but he has some pop. 8 home runs and 23 runs batted in with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike, 2 outs. They shift to the right side of the infield. Anderson dealing low, ball 2, 2-1.
I think the tough part for players like Aquino and Van Meter and Senzel would fit into that type of category. When you start to hit the opposition well, they're not going to throw you as many strikes.
There's ball 3.
They're going to move you back a little bit. They're going to see if you'll chase that breaking ball in the dirt or the changeup, especially when you have runners in scoring position, and maybe test your mettle as a young player.
3-1 the count on Van Meter. Phillip Ervin waiting on deck. Out in center, Trent Grisham playing Van Meter to pull, a swing and a miss. And the corner outfielders kind of bunching the alleys on Van Meter, so a lot of room down the right field line and the left field line, and a huge gap into left center. A 3-2 count on Van Meter. Randall sends out the sign, and Anderson sends in the payoff pitch, and that is ball 4. Good at bat for the youngster, and he's on with 2 out as the inning continues for Red center fielder Phillip Ervin.
I think that's the toughest part for a young player who comes up crushing the ball early when they get to the big leagues, is to try to settle back in and be able to take a base on balls. Because you got here swinging the bat. You didn't get here walking a bunch, especially a guy like Van Meter or Aquino. But up here, if you will show the pitcher that you'll take a walk, they'll come right back to the strike zone.
Well, here's Ervin now with 2 out. 269 on the season, has hit left-handers incredibly well, has had struggle with right-handers. He takes that breaking ball off the outside corner for ball 1. And the defense pretty much in the outfield straight up, although second baseman Keston Hira shading him toward the middle of the infield. Eric Thames trying to keep Van Meter close, and he will run. 9 stolen bases. That pitch is in for a strike. 1-1 the count. We mentioned getaway day for both teams. The Reds will be heading on to Pittsburgh, where they play the final 3 games of the year beginning tomorrow night. And the Milwaukee Brewers are heading west, where they will close the season out at Chase Field against the Colorado Rockies at Coors Field in Denver. And that's a tough series for this club, given the fact they are either going to be 2 games out if they lose today or a game out if they win. And then you have to go into Coors Field, and Lord knows you don't know what might happen in that ballpark. The pitch, swing, and a foul.
Well, you might as well be playing in Vegas because it's nothing but a roll of the dice in some ball game.
And I'll be honest with you. We've talked to a lot of people this morning, and they talk about how the Cubs vastly undermanned, woefully undermanned, because Joe Maddon has talked about players that he will not play in all likelihood in the series that starts tomorrow night in St. Louis. I don't care who the Cubs run out there. It is going to be a handful.
It's going to be a dogfight.
For the St. Louis Cardinals, it's going to be every bit of that. Fly ball hit down the right field line. Chasing is Gamble, and that ball is untouched and a foul ball. And on back to first base is Josh Van Meter, and Ervin will stay in the box with a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, I would say that there are guys on the bench for the Cubs that are chomping at the bit to get into a ball game and prove that they can play in the big leagues. And there are guys on the mound as well. I just think that Cubs-Cardinals rivalry, especially in front of a packed house, there's not going to be any laydown by the Chicago Cubs.
Anderson back to work against Phillip Ervin as Van Meter takes a short lead at first base. He straightens up on the mound, does a Brewers right-hander, and the pitch is a swing and a miss. Change up upstairs, and that takes care of Ervin, and it ends the inning. Reds with a 1-0 lead as we go to the top of the second inning. It'll be cleanup batter and first baseman Eric Thames for openers against Castillo, and we welcome in for the final time in 2019. You're not going to be in Pittsburgh, are you?
I am.
Oh, well, then you've got a shot at being back on again. And we got all the guys here today. This is huge. Mark Sheldon from MLB.com. They just took a picture of us, and Mark sucked in his belly.
What a way to go out.
I got Bobby Nightingale is here. The big four who we have enjoyed so much. I know I have, though, all these years. A hard ground ball hit off the glove of Votto, who throws an out.
Nice play.
And an acrobatic play by both the receiver on the ground ball, Votto, and the man taking the throw while on the move to get the out and get on the bag before Thames did, Luis Castillo. Good play. So, guys, my heartfelt thanks to all of you.
And ours to you. For me personally, this has always been a thrill. I know the other guys always enjoy it, and there's nothing like going into this booth and getting made fun of for 5 to 15 minutes. So it's
the American way, Mark.
It is the American way. It's a rite of passage, and we all like getting lit up by the master.
Well, I hope all of you know that you know how much I feel about you guys. And all kidding aside, here I go again. I've enjoyed the second inning like you can't believe. It's been fun. All of you guys are self-deprecating, which adds to the allure of having writers in our booth. And I've said to you all individually, I'm stunned that other baseball broadcasters and networks don't incorporate what we do, and we have done for probably, 13, 14, 15 years or more, because I think it gives fans a different side of a ball club on a day-to-day basis, or any other topic that we might talk about from your perspective. And I'm stunned that other teams don't do it. And had it not been for you and Trent and John and Bobby Nightingale, it would not nearly be as good as it's been, because you guys have laid it out there. We've had a lot of laughs in this booth, and I'll be indebted to you guys for all time.
And we to you. Actually, all of us, other guys in the press box, we got you a gift. It'll probably give you nightmares when you look at it for times to come, but have at it.
Corey Spangenberg strikes out swinging on a changeup. You guys didn't have to do that. I mean, that's the best. That is absolutely something that'll go in my baseball room. A picture of all the guys that covered this ball club that I've had association with through all these years, and whoever came up with the idea, you came up with a winner. And the note, thank you for the fun and friendship. Enjoy the retirement. God bless every one of you guys. Thank you very much.
And to you, Marty. Thank you.
Thanks, fellas. Now, what have you got for me today? If it's nothing, then you know where your seat is over in the press box. You understand? Swing and a miss by Travis Shaw, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
You didn't think you were going to get by with all that emotional stuff.
No, I know. We had to get to the real stuff. Well, we saw Sonny Gray come sauntering in the clubhouse with his elbow in a wrap.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of hoots and hollers when he produced the bone chips, I guess. And he said it was like having 4 teeth floating around in his elbow. And Derek Johnson suggested that he put him under the pillow to see if the tooth fairy comes.
Does that not make it even more amazing the way he pitched the second half of the season?
Undoubtedly. He had a great year, and it's all good.
Travis Shaw is struck out on change-up. That ends the inning.
LW.
When we go to the bottom of the second inning, the Reds have a 1-0 lead. In case you missed it, a long home run to left off the bat of Aristides Aquino in the first inning has gotten the scoring underway, and now the Reds send up Iglesias, Farmer, and Casale here in the bottom of inning number 2. Iglesias comes in at 283, 11 homers and 55 runs batted in. He has really had a tough time of it over the last 16 games, batting under 180. But here he is to lead off inning number 2. Good crowd on hand here. The weather could not be any better at this time of the year, and I'm sure when in the past the Reds have played these 12:35 games, it was all predicated on what kind of day it was going to be and what kind of walk-up business this club got. On days like this, they normally got a lot of walk-up.
We have got Manny Pena behind the plate. Yasmani Grandal has now, looks like he's standing at first base.
Doesn't it? And he is. That pitch is swung on and lined into center. That's a base hit. Iglesias will round first as Grisham gets to the ball, and that's how the second begins. A base hit for the Red shortstop, and the batter will be third baseman Kyle Farmer. So Pena catching, and Grandal goes to first. Checking at other positions, Eric Thames out of the lineup. That may well be the first of many such moves, maybe more so for the Reds today than it would be for Milwaukee. And you have to wonder if Grandal, or rather Thames, might have some kind of problem.
Well, it was a weird play at first base when Votto dove for the ball and then had to throw, and it looked like Thames was trying to evade anything with Castillo at first. He may have hit the bag wrong. You never know with the guys running down the line, especially on a day like this. It's hot. It might be 74, but it doesn't feel like it.
One strike pitch is up and in to Farmer, and the count's 1-1. Of course, these guys all, as from a pitching perspective, and I would imagine this is the last appearance this regular season for Chase Anderson, and certainly for the Reds, it's been pretty much a week-long situation. Runner going, and the pitch is fouled back. They'll have Anthony DeSclafani against Stephen Brault, a left-hander, Friday night. The Reds will. Then Trevor Bauer will go Saturday against right-hander James Marvel. And then Sunday, and David Bell announced this a couple of days ago, it'll be a bullpen day. A lot of folks will get a chance to pitch in game number 162 against Trevor Williams.
And I'm sure Anthony DeSclafani, he has had this looming over his head over the last few starts. I know he really would like to get into double-digit wins for the first time.
No question.
And he's pitched well enough to get there. It just hasn't quite worked out.
2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody out and the runner at first base. Reds 1 and the Brewers nothing here in the bottom of the second inning. Farmers hangs right in that batter's box and now waits. And the 2-2 on the way, and that's swung on and hit back into deep right field. Does it have enough? It will be caught on the warning track a couple of steps away from the wall that fronts the Reds bullpen in right field. Farmer gave it a ride, but it stays in the yard, and Ben Gamel's able to track it down. 1 away.
All right, folks, it is time for our Cincinnati Bell trivia question of the game. Text the word vote along with your answer of A, B, or C to 66128 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum, a $25 Skyline Chili gift card, a $25 Dunkin' Donuts gift card, and a free haircut from Great Clips. All brought to you by Cincinnati Bell, connecting what matters.
Last night, Tom tried to steer me away from what turned out to be the right answer. It was rather...
How could your boy do that?
I don't know. I mean, I would expect that of you, but I would not expect it out of him, because I knew the answer to the question, and he said, well, we'll come back and talk about it in the 8th inning.
I'm trying to get you to miss it every time.
I know that. And he said, I don't know about that answer. You better think again. Okay, go ahead.
How many future Reds managers played in the Reds' 1974 opening day contest that was the first regular season Major League game broadcast by you, Marty Brenneman?
How many what?
Future Reds managers played in that first game that you broadcast. 1974 opening day. Remember the Hank Aaron thing?
Yes, yes, yeah.
I'm just checking with you.
Yeah, I got you.
A4, B3, or C2 managers.
Yeah. Now, I'm operating on the assumption that this does not include the managers of those 2 teams when they opened the 74 season. Fly ball hit to left.
Played. They had to play.
Corey Spangenberg makes a catch. And there are 2 out. Now, let me see.
See, that could be a trick question, because if they played, they had to be on the field. So maybe if they were sitting in the dugout and
that's a trick question.
This is how they do that. They've been doing this for this many years.
Believe me, I've lost a lot of sleep over the low-rent manner in which they word these questions. Casali is fly to left, and here's Castillo as the Reds get through their batting order 1 full time inside the first couple of innings. I got to think about this for a while.
Oh, you ain't got much time now.
Foul ball. 1.
There's 2 outs.
2. I'm aware of that.
Okay.
Let's see. Perez 1. Rose 2. That's 2. And there are 4. What are the numbers?
4, 3, or 2.
I'm going to say 4. Change up in for a strike.
Okay. Well, since you're not absolutely positive,
Yeah. Can I guess what you're going to say next?
you can. We will allow you to think about this, marinate on it a little bit,
I'll marinate on it. You can count on that, Bubba.
and we'll go back and give you a chance to change it in the eighth.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Fly ball into left center, getting over to get it is Corey Spangenberg. Nothing lead here in this final home game of the season. Castillo has punched out 3, has faced a minimum of 6 batters over the first couple of innings. And Jeff, at least at the outset of this, his 32nd and final start of the year, he seems to be on top of his game.
Very much so. I think when you look at Luis Castillo's numbers overall against the Brewers, if you focus solely on the numbers at Miller Park, you think, oh, this is a tough team for him to face. But yet you shift those numbers to here at Great American Ballpark, where he is 2-2 with a 1.57. How does that happen?
I don't know.
You would think they'd be worse here. You know?
Here's Orlando Arcia. Started on Tuesday night. Gave way to Corey Spangenberg, who started last night's game at shortstop, and now Arcia gets back in there. A .218 batter with some pop, 15 home runs, a right-hand batter. Castillo going to work, jammed him. Ball's deflected by Castillo. Shortstop cannot make a play as Iglesias came sweeping in to pick the ball up in front of the second base bag and simply could not get a grip. So that'll go down as an infield base hit. And the Brewers have their leadoff batter aboard here in the third.
Almost had another carom off the pitcher in the throw to first base.
Yep.
But those splits with Castillo, there are so many things that you can explain this day and age through numbers and the way that we do things analytically now. But that's one of those that I just kind of shake my head at.
Left-handed batting Ben Gamble in the box with one runner on, and the pitch is up high, ball 1. Reds on Radio and Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network welcome Reds on Radio affiliate network flagship 700 WLW from Cincinnati for our game today. For endless things to do all year long, stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And a strike on the outside squares things against Gamble. 1 ball, 1 strike. Runner leading at first base, Arcia. He has swiped 8 bases on the year. Pause and the pitch, and strike 2 call. When you got the kind of changeup this kid's got, and you get him down, he gets a hitter down 2 strikes or 1 and 2. The hitter still has to look for the fastball.
You have to look for the hardest pitch from the pitcher that's on the mound, which is 96, 97 more times than not from Castillo.
The pitch swung on and pulled foul to right.
I mean, you could conceivably go up and look for a changeup, but if he does throw a fastball that's even 90, it's over.
Yeah. Well, the 3 strikeouts he's had today run his total to 221 on the season, and that's a rather impressive number as he throws a 1-2 pitch, and that's up and away a ball. He missed badly with that pitch. And you're impressed by that number, and then I'm constantly reminded of what Garrett Cole has done this season with Houston. I mean, this is turning the clock back in as royal a fashion as I can think of. When you've got a guy in this day and time, and he strikes out over 300 in a baseball season, that is staggering. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. That's 4 punch-outs now for Castillo, and he'll go to work against Chase Anderson with 1 away.
Well, we talk about the fastball with Castillo. We talk about the changeup. What I look forward to, and we've seen this as the season has progressed, the continued movement with the breaking ball as he gets better with that as time goes on. Castillo's always been a fastball changeup guy. The slider has always been his 3rd pitch. It's kind of opposite for every other pitcher, seems like, in baseball.
Pitcher's going to bunt, and he bunts at it. Actually stabbed at it would be the more appropriate term, and failed to make contact. He's down to strike. Well, people in this part of the country, in talking about Luis Castillo's changeup, when you can liken that to the one that Mario Soto threw back in the late 70s and into the 80s.
Good a compliment as you can get.
That's a supreme compliment. There's no question about that. Throw to first.
And I think when you look at Castillo's numbers velocity-wise, facing the changeup on the slider, they're very close to the same speed, except the slider goes to the left, the changeup goes to the right or straight down.
Here's a bunt attempt that he fouls off, and Chase Anderson's behind in the count 0-2.
It's always nice to see a pitcher come to the big leagues with the arm like Luis Castillo and knowing that he's only in second gear. He's still got 3, maybe 4 gears to get to.
Yeah. Tries to put Anderson away with this pitch. Creeping in from third is Farmer's swing and a foul. He showed bunt and pulled the bat back and took a hack and got a piece of it. Leadoff batter Trent Grisham on deck with 1 out and 1 on here in the third. Reds 1, Brewers nothing. Outfield shallow. Obviously playing the right-handed batter to radically hit the other way should he make contact. And he does on another bunt attempt, but that's strike 3. So back-to-back for Castillo, 5 on the afternoon. And now we'll face Grisham, who in the first inning he induced a fly ball to left on.
That charge in by Farmer seemed like it affected Chase Anderson in a negative way. Looked like they tried to swing on the second bunt. The last time he was really focused on trying to push the ball to the right side, and maybe that positioning of Farmer coming way in got in his head a little bit.
Now here's Grisham back. His second look at Luis Castillo. And he hits it in the air again to left field, and it'll hang up for a while, enabling Van Meter to get to it and make the catch in fair ground. Chase Anderson back to the mound for the third time today as the Reds go through their batting order for the second time. Jose Peraza fouled to first, and he is in and waiting. The Reds maintain their 1-run lead, 1-0. And the pitch, and it's off the plate and low ball 1.
You know, I noticed that as this started, you kind of looked over here for a second. I'm not doing play-by-play today. I wanted to make sure you realize that. You're in there for 9, big boy.
That's going to take me back to Norfolk, Virginia, 1973, doing all 9 innings. Tommy Thrall knows all about that, don't you, pal? Nice talking with you. 2 balls and no strikes.
Full metal jacket.
Anderson drops down behind the mound to collect himself, and back on top. He's not a guy who's going to walk a lot of hitters, but he's behind in the count, and Peraza showing great patience as he waits on the 2-0, and he lines it up to center field for a base hit.
It's a 6-game hitting streak for Jose Peraza.
And now tries to take an extra base, and that was a bad idea. He was gambling that they were going to be nonchalant about getting the ball back to the infield. That was decidedly not the case. And he is thrown out at second base and thrown out easily. Center fielder picked the ball up, Trent Grisham, and fired into second. And the tag applied by Hira, and they got him easy.
Got to know the arm of your outfielders.
Base hit for Peraza. Outplay at second base goes 8-4. And a swing and a foul by Joey Votto, who struck out looking in the first inning. The 0-1 pitch. Swinging fly ball hit back into right. And it'll be caught short of the warning track by Ben Gamble, and they're 2 men out.
The game's 15th out. That was Trent Grisham's, brought to you by Geico. Saving you money on car insurance has been Geico's home run for over 75 years. Get a quote today with a proud partner of Major League Baseball at Geico.com. Geico, so easy, a caveman can do it.
Trying to retire the Reds, facing a minimum of 3 batters, is Chase Anderson, and he'll get Aquino, who took him deep in the first. And he leans away from that pitch upstairs, ball 1.
Quite pitch efficient for Chase Anderson here early in this ball game.
He's back with a pitch, and that's off the plate outside a ball. So Aquino delivered the Reds' first run of the game. The first run delivered to you by Integrity Express Logistics, a grand slam for all of your freight plays. Visit IELFreight.com. And that pitch on the outside, it's a strike, 2-1. This young man has had the record-setting month of August. At the end of the month, he was not only Rookie of the Month, he was Player of the Month. And then hard times set in. Pitchers started to make adjustments, and it has only been in the last maybe week, 8 days, that we have seen Aquino start to better prepare for the adjustments that pitchers around the game have started to make on him.
And I think that's a great thing for Aquino going into 2020.
That's a ball down, 3-2 the count.
I mean, the last thing that you want to do is come to the big leagues, have a bunch of success, and then fall on your face.
Yeah.
Because guys are going to adjust. You see it all the time. And now that they've adjusted and he has decided, okay, this is how they're going to pitch me now, that is an awfully good thing for a young player.
It's a 3-2 pitch coming from Anderson, and he has lined it into right field, and he is 2 for 2 on the afternoon. I'll tell you what, this young man has got a wealth of talent. It is really scary to think that if he can continue to make the necessary adjustments down the road, that he's got a chance to have some kind of big-time Major League Baseball career. He's got a gun for an arm. He covers a lot of ground, deceptively so, because of the long legs in right field. And he really has appeared to fall into a rather nice comfort zone, and he did it rather quickly. And he's not a brash kid. He's not an outspoken kid. He just goes about doing his job.
But he's confident.
He really, truly is, and was from day one that he got here. Here's Josh Van Meter, and takes a strike.
I think that Aquino takes instruction well. I think he listens to the veteran players. He's trying to stay in the big part of the ballpark so he doesn't pull off the ball. I mean, we used to describe his kind of power as dumb power, because he can miss a ball and still hit it into the second deck.
Here's a one-strike pitch, and the runner goes, and the pitch is taken, and the throw down to second, not in time. That's a stolen base. And
he's yet to be caught.
Yep, he's 7 for 7. Got a great job, and despite a pretty good throw by Pena, he was easily at second base ahead of the ball and the tag. And the other thing, you talk about taking instruction well, I think Donnie Ecker, the Reds' assistant hitting coach, has been like money for this kid.
It's nice as a young player to have someone that you know you can trust, and you can trust that it's going to make your game better. And when you listen and then you put it into play and it works, boy, your confidence just goes through the roof.
So a hit now means a run. 1-1 the count. The second baseman here are playing a shallow right field. And now a bluff throw back towards second by Anderson. When you come see the Reds, be sure you've downloaded Ballpark. It is the official Great American Ballpark app. Check in at the game to unlock special offers, exclusive content, and seat upgrades. Download Ballpark for free and play Baseball Bingo, presented by Dynegy. Throw to second. Whoa, close that time. Well, he tried to lull him into a false sense of security by spinning but not throwing the first time, and that time the time play almost worked to perfection. Undaunted, Aquino bounces off the bag at second, and now Anderson steps off, and Aquino retreats very quickly. 2 out in the inning, a 1-1 count here in the home third. Bright sunshine here on the ballpark by the mighty Ohio. The holdup is because Craig Counsell wants to see whether or not we want you guys to take a look at that call again.
That was really close.
And he said, no, I'm good. So they will play on. Van Meter waits on a 1-1 pitch. The check of Aquino, and on to the plate. And that's way up and away, 2-1. Van Meter will obviously be in the mix next year. A lot of people feel the Reds need to go out and get a an outfielder who can hit for power and drive in runs. That pitch is up and away. The count's 3-1. They have been without Jesse Winker forever and a day. And you really wonder whether or not should they shop for an outfielder who's available and can drive the ball and drive in runs, whether or not it won't be an outfielder who can play left field.
I would say that's the spot.
Yep. There's ball 4. Van Meter draws a walk. His second base on balls in as many plate appearances. And now with 2 on and 2 out, the batter will be Phillip Ervin.
That's one of those spots for Chase Anderson. He's got a base open. He's not really sure exactly how he wants to go after Van Meter. Once he fell behind, he looks on deck. There's Phillip Ervin. I struck him out easy the first time. That's who I'm going at.
Time has been called. Pitching coach Chris Hook makes his way to the mound from the third base dugout. So they want to chat up each other about how they want to go about pitching to Ervin, I would think. With 2 out and 2 on, as Jeff said, he's already faced him once and struck him out. Needless to say, this would be a big-time loss for the Brewers if they go into Denver 2 games back with 3 games to play. And it would certainly lessen the pressure on that Cardinal ball club that now is trying to fend Milwaukee off and win the division.
Well, I think you could really heighten the pressure and put a little more on those 3 games that the Cubs are coming into St. Louis if the Brewers are able to prevail today.
So now the meeting is over, and Ervin is in, and Aquino is at second, Van Meter at first in the pitch. And that's a swing and a miss. Off-speed pitch up in the eyes of Phillip Ervin.
Well, that's the pitch that he struck him out on in the first at bat. That changeup up and on the inside part of the plate.
Raises the left leg and lets it go, and that pitch, he comes back with a fastball. And just like that, Phillip Ervin is behind in the count 0-2. Runners leading at first and second. That's low and away for a ball. One ball and 2 strikes. 2 men on, 2 men out. Auto fly to right for the second out, but then Aquino single, stole second, and Van Meter followed with a walk. So all of this business has come after there were 2 out. And whoa, that's up and in, a fastball. And Ervin was able to snap that head back to his right and avoid contact.
Looked like Anderson may have tried to overthrow that pitch a little bit. He was trying to elevate the fastball. A lot of times you're trying to really get something on it. That front shoulder flies a little bit, and it has a tendency to tail right into the batter.
Ground ball to third on a hop, and the throw on a cross by Shaw, and that ends the inning. No runs. Top of the 4th inning as Yasmani Grandal stands in. He opened the game behind the plate. He has moved to first a couple of innings ago, and we finally get the report on Eric Thames. He has a hamstring problem in both legs.
That's a serious hamstring problem.
It's about as serious as it gets. He didn't have one leg with a hamstring problem. He's gotten both, and that's the reason why they pulled him early and moved Grandal to first and Pena behind the plate. The 0-1 pitch coming, and that was a swing and a miss on the change, and the count's 0-2.
Grandal's going to be seeing that change in his nightmares. He's seen it every time he's been there.
That pitch is just a bit low. He struck him out in the first inning. He's fanned 5 and has not walked a batter, and working with the smallest of leads as a result of the Aquino first inning solo home run. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 16-7 would not be a bad record to reflect back upon in the event that Castillo can emerge with a win in this one. And now a 3-2 count. He goes from 0-2 to 3-2. Oh, the Reds righty steps back on, looks back in. Grandal and the payoff pitch, and he walked him. 4 straight misses, and backpedaling quickly off the mound. Castillo would indicate that he did not exactly agree with the call by plate umpire Doug Eddings, but that's a base on balls, and that's allowing a guy to get away. You get ahead 0-2, and then you end up walking him. That's not a good thing.
I think when you look back at that entire at-bat, you see the taking of the 0-2 changeup that was just barely underneath the strike zone. So Castillo is thinking, all right, I've really got to make a better pitch with it, and it forced him to try to do a little bit too much.
Castanheira, inside, ball 1. That's 5 pitches in a row now thrown out of the strike zone. And this every now and then rears its ugly head relative to Luis Castillo. This is certainly an area that down the road he needs to improve upon. And that's now 6 pitches in a row that he has failed to throw a strike, and he's behind 2 balls and no strikes. Right now, a 41-pitch afternoon for Luis Castillo. He's got Grandal over at first. He's bad in need of a strike. And you don't want to make a pitch to this young man too good. And now it's a 3-ball, no-strike count.
And all 3 of those pitches have been fastballs. All 3 have missed about 5 or 6 inches in off the plate.
He takes a turn now at going down behind the mound to try and collect himself. A pitch away from issuing back-to-back walks to begin inning number 4. The 3-0 coming, and that's a strike. 7 straight misses. A strike is called. All bets are off now for Castanheira. He's looking for a pitch he can do some damage with. Outfield playing, he was an opposite field hitter. And here's a 3-1 coming. And that's ball 4. Back-to-back walks. Wow. As good as he is and as dominating as he can be, he falls into this type of trap. And now with Casale already at the mound, he's going to be joined there momentarily by pitching coach Derek Johnson.
As we have seen, and you mentioned this earlier, Castillo probably throws more strikes with his changeup than any other pitch. His most comfortable pitch from a mental standpoint, also his best command pitch. When you look at his fastball command, it is not nearly what you would think from a starting pitcher in an efficiency standpoint. That's one of his issues that he's got to be better at going forward. We talked about the advancement of the slider earlier. Fastball location would fall into that same category.
Well, whatever Derek Johnson had to say, it didn't take very long. He's right back to the dugout, and now Manny Pena, who took over behind the plate when that change was made earlier, will bat for the first time. A .229 batter, 7 homers and 24 runs batted in. The backup to Yasmani Grandal. 2 men on, nobody out. The pitch, and that's ball 1. Infield, a double play depth. The outfield playing Pena, a right-hand batter, exactly as they did the batter previous here, and that is to hit the ball the other way. Swing and a miss on the change, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. So essentially, boiling it down to as simple a form as possible, he has to improve upon his fastball command and have the confidence that goes with knowing he can throw a strike with that pitch when he wants to.
Correct.
2 balls and 1 strike.
And that's really been the issue for Castillo. It's always been an issue. The fastball command is not at the percentage that you would like for a starting pitcher. But look at the numbers. Imagine where this kid could be if his fastball command even ticks up 5%.
Here's a 2-1 pitch, and he bounces it foul.
I mean, every pitcher that ever holds a baseball in his hand wants to throw a pitch that nobody can hit. He has one already.
2 on, nobody out, 2-2 the count. After Pena, it'll be Spangenberg and then Shaw. Right now, Castillo needs to throw a ground ball to Manny Pena and let the defense take care of the rest. 2-2 pitch. Foul ball.
The crazy part about watching Castillo throw a changeup with 2 strikes is more times than not with 2 strikes, you've got a hitter at the plate that is thinking in the back of his mind, stay back, fight the fastball off, look for a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch, and they're still out in front of it. That should tell you something about the speed and the movement of the changeup.
There's strike 3 call. He painted the inside black. And no argument offered up by Manny Pena. He becomes out number 1. So Castillo a third of the way home and now will be confronted by left fielder Corey Spangenberg.
You asked me earlier about 2 strikes and looking for a changeup. That's what happens when you have 2 strikes and you're looking for a changeup. That baby was right there. It was thigh high, right in the heart of the plate at 97, and you're standing there like a statue because you were looking for a changeup.
Spangenberg struck out in the second. He swings and grounds to first. Votto backhands and will throw to second, and that's all they get. Joey didn't hesitate and gave Iglesias a good throw to get the force play at second base on Hira. Grandal goes to third, Spangenberg aboard, and the batter will be Travis Shaw with 2 out. This has obviously been a lost season for Travis Shaw, and I think the expectation, Jeff, both of us, as a matter of fact, had a chance to talk to him. This is a young man near and dear to our hearts because his dad, Jeff, was a former pitcher here and was loved by a lot of folks, and his mom, Julie, is just a great person in her own right. And Travis, of course, was with the Red Sox, came over after 2016, and in back-to-back years had 31 and 32 home runs. This year he got hurt early and has really seemingly never been able to recover. He's been up and down in their system, and I think the feeling is he'll be somewhere else next year, and the good thing about that is the 1-0 pitch is taken for a strike. Wherever he goes, if he goes next year, he's going to be going to somebody with the expectation of that team that he can bounce back, and he's going to be an everyday player.
And I think he will.
Yep,
I think even though you have a lost year statistically, it may be the best thing that ever happened to you mentally.
Got a 2-1 count on him, and just a classy young man. I mean, they don't make him any better than Travis Shaw. We both remember when he was underfoot and getting in the way of people and shooing him off, and
I remember.
All of a sudden he becomes a man.
Get out of my locker.
Yeah. First and third, 2 out, 2-1 pitch. Runner at first goes, pitch taken, no throw by Casale, bluffed it. So credit Spangenberg with a stolen base. That's his third. And now it's a 3-ball, 1-strike count on Shaw. So that pitch count is skyrocketing here in inning number 4. He sits at 55 right now. And the Brewers are hoping for a 2-out base hit that could turn a 1-0 deficit into a 1-run lead. To the plate. And a long drive to right, but a foul ball. Holding at 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 down. Back to third, Grandal. Back to second, Spangenberg. 26-year-old Luis Castillo trying to dodge a 4th-inning bullet. Long look to Casale. Now gets what he wants, and now the stretch. And to the left-handed batting Shaw, the 3-2 pitch, and he walked him. And again, he shows, I would imagine, dissatisfaction with a call by Doug Eddings.
And that's not something we have ever seen from Luis Castillo, and that's happened twice here today. Emotion on the mound.
It's happened here in this inning twice. So he's walked the bases loaded. He goes to work now on Orlando Arcia, who had a rocket back through the middle that Castillo deflected. Iglesias came in to field the ball but had a problem getting a grip on it, and that represents the only hit that the Brewers have had today, and the bases are loaded now with 2 out. And that ball is hit foul and out of play off to the right.
You look at the numbers for Arcia on the year, came into the game hitting .218, but he's now 8 for 21 against Luis Castillo. That's seeing a ball pretty good from a guy that most people don't see the ball well off of him.
No balls and one strike. The Reds right-hander checking him over and lets it fly, and that pitch is way high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Earlier, 7 straight pitches out of the strike zone before he was able to throw a strike. 2 on, nobody out. He got the strikeout of Pena, then got Spangenberg to hit into a force play. That ball is lined into left center field. That ball is going to be caught and dropped by Josh Van Meter, and 2-run score. And now another runner being waved around, could not find the handle on the ball, and the throw is cut off, and the bases have been cleared, and it's a 3-1 lead in favor of Milwaukee. Van Meter had it, and then he didn't, as he ran into the gap in left center, and to compound the problem, he had trouble picking it up. And the third base coach very wisely sent Travis Shaw to the plate, and that's going to be a 2-out, 3-run double for Orlando Arcia as he continues to, for want of a better term, own Luis Castillo, and the Brewers have taken a 3-1 lead here in the 4th inning.
Yeah, Phillip Ervin was in a good backup position after the ball kicked out of the glove of Van Meter, but when Ervin went down to get the ball, he dropped it.
And that was the reason the 3rd run scored. Now a line drive to left and a dive, and the ball gets right by him and goes to the wall, and another run will score, and everything becoming unbent right now for Luis Castillo. It's a 4-run inning and a 3-run Milwaukee lead. Boy, Van Meter gambling big time on that ball, and quite honestly, from where we sit, he had no chance at all of catching it.
That is one of those issues for a young player where you feel like you should have made the catch on the previous play and the ball tipped out of your glove. You try to make up for it by making a miraculous play, and there was no chance for him to catch that ball.
So now Chase Anderson steps in, the 8th batter in the inning. And he shoots it foul to right, 0-1.
That's one of those plays, buddy, where if you're an outfielder, you have to know the situation in the outs and where you are in the order. If you keep that ball in front, you may have Arcia at 3rd, but you've got the pitcher coming to the plate, and you don't allow that last run.
1 strike and nothing on Anderson, who was struck out in the 3rd. And that's a swing and a miss. And the pitch count now up to 63. In the first 3 innings, 1 infield single with 5 strikeouts and not a walk. He has walked 3 batters here in this inning. 4 runs have scored, and he's still looking for the elusive 3rd out. And the pitch is down and away, 1-2. I mean, at the end of the day, Castillo's got nobody to blame but himself. You exhibit the kind of pristine control that he did earlier, and all of a sudden you can't throw a strike. A club like Milwaukee picks up on that and does some deep-seated damage. Swing and a foul ball. New supply of baseballs for plate umpire Doug Eddings. A 1-2 count with pitcher against pitcher. Out at second is Ben Gamble, who doubled the left. Drive in Arcia, who doubled in 3 runs. The 1-2 pitch. Up and in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. There is no activity in the Reds bullpen. But there's some movement now. If he were to lose Chase Anderson, I would imagine they're going to get somebody up to throw. Here's a 2-2 pitch. In fact, the pitcher is up now. And that's a strikeout swinging on the changeup. And mercifully, the inning is over. We go to the bottom of
Then he speaks more. Scott Sloan, tomorrow morning at 9 on 700 WLW.
Now the Reds have their work cut out for them. A 4-run inning gives Milwaukee a 4-1 lead with Iglesias, Farmer, and Casale due up here to apply their individual and collective talents against right-hander Chase Anderson, who has given up only a home run to Aristides Aquino. He's given up 2 other hits, but he has a 3-run lead. We have a gentleman with us who needs no introduction, I'm sure, to Ohio fans and to Reds fans, and he may be the #1 fan in the state of Ohio because he just happens to be the governor of our great state. I've had the pleasure of knowing him a long, long time. Used to run into him in spring training back in the days in which the club trained in Sarasota. He's been season ticket holder here since I came in 1974, and that would be Governor Mike DeWine. Governor, good to see you.
Marty, good to be with you. That brings back great memories, Sarasota. My dad loved the Reds. He started watching the Reds in the 30s and 40s, and he loved to go to Sarasota. So I always think of him whenever we talk about spring training.
You became a Reds fan, obviously, as a kid, and it's never left you.
No, I mean, my first team, I'll give away my age here, it's no secret, but it was 55, 56 Reds, a lot of home runs.
Oh, yeah.
Kluszewski, Johnny Temple, Roy McMillan, and then, you had Frank Robinson, Wally Post, Gus Bell, and some great catchers. So it was, I've been a fan for a long, long, long time. And
2 balls and no strikes on Jose Iglesias. We're visiting with the governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, and it's awfully nice to come down here today on a great day for baseball. I don't know that you can legitimately expect a day this warm in the month of September and this clear, but thank God
beautiful.
We have a good one.
It is great to be here. Just wanted to thank you for everything you've done. I don't know anybody's traveled much more around the state than I have, and there's been many a night, Marty, for the last few decades that, you've kept me company coming home. Late nights, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and tune you in, and I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss that a lot.
I appreciate that, Governor. I tell people all the time that those who listen to our broadcast at home, especially kids, and run into a lot of people who said, back when I was a kid, I'd take my radio to bed and
absolutely
put it under my pillow and listen to the broadcast. And
did that many a time.
Yeah, my response to that is no one has put more people to sleep than Jeff Brantley and I, especially when the club's on the West Coast. Here's a hard-hit ground ball foul at third. And so you pretty much come home every weekend and then get back to Columbus and take care of business.
Fran and I were born and raised in Yellow Springs, and we live in Cedarville, Greene County. Right. And we go home on the weekends, and we spend the weeks generally up in Columbus. And I snuck away today. Actually, I tell you, my team had me scheduled to do something, and I looked at the schedule, and I said, we got to change that. I gotta be here to...
Here's a flare into right center, and the second baseman Hira going back.
I think he lost it.
He must have, because he got a lot of glove on the ball, and it fell free. So Iglesias is aboard to lead off the bottom of inning number 4, and it's going to be interesting to see how they score that. I got to believe they're going to charge Hira with an error on that play, and they have. That'll be an error on Hira. That's a break for the Reds, and now third baseman Kyle Farmer stands in. Looking back on all the years that you followed this ball club, and I know you have to ride the fence a little bit these days because you're governor of the state, and you have to deal with the Indians fans, and you have to deal with the Reds fans, and you have to be politically correct. You have to deal with that, don't you?
Well, yes, but I tell my friends up north. They know I'm a Reds fan. They give me a hard time about that, but I tell them that I was there in the 1954 World Series when my dad took me, and they lost. We had tickets for 3, 4, and 5, and of course we never got to the 5th game. But that was an amazing team. I was just a kid, didn't really understand how good that Cleveland team was.
Well, it was a Cleveland team that won
111 games.
111 games,
yeah.
And I mean, there was no weakness on that club.
No one had predicted that was going to happen in the World Series. And, of course, that was the World Series where Willie Mays made this great catch that we keep seeing replays of.
Yeah, and an unknown named Dusty Rhodes had a pinch hit home run to win the first game, and then Leo DeRocher played him in the second game, hit another home run. And that's the first World Series that I realized what baseball was all about.
Well, it's about the same way with me. I was 7, and Dad took me up there, and it was something I still remember. So I tell my Cleveland fans, and I show them a picture that I was actually there for that game.
Line drive caught by the second baseman to throw to first, not in time.
Was Al Rosen on that club?
Oh, yes.
He was my general manager in San Francisco.
Oh, was that right?
Yeah.
Was he
How
really?
funny is that?
That's right.
Play San Francisco in the World Series, and then you turn full circle, and he's the general manager of the Giants when we went to the World Series.
Yeah, they had Bobby Avila, who led the American League in hitting that year. They had Chico Carousel, who was at shortstop. Who else? Of course, the pitching was incredible. They had Early Wynn and Bob Lemon and that bunch. And the bullpen was Ray Narleski and Don Mossy. I mean, they had everything. That was a good Cleveland club, and the Giants shockingly beat them 4 straight.
Which is amazing.
Kurt Casale takes the first pitch strike.
So I did bring a proclamation. That's the you need another proclamation, Marty, to hang on your wall.
I've got wall space now.
Okay, you have
Governor.
space. All right. I saw your bride coming in. She and I came in together.
Very good.
I asked her how you were holding up, and she said you were doing well, and she looked like she was doing well.
She's doing very well. Thank you for asking.
Here's the proclamation. I'm not going to read it, but it's kind of pretty, and
it is very attractive.
You can
it'll fit into my room perfectly. With all
if you
that
get
color.
bored with these, you can do them at a yard sale or something.
No, well, that'll not happen.
The old story that former Senator Saxby. I think his son Rocky told me this story that he actually had a yard sale for some of the plaques and things he got.
You're kidding
Just
me.
put them out, yeah. Hey, come.
Grounded foul, 1-2 on Casale.
So it won't hurt my feelings when I hear that somebody's got them. A good fan's got a yard sale from Marty Brennan.
Hey, you and I go way, way back. Nobody was more happy that you were elected governor of this state, and I'm thrilled to tell people I know you and I know Pat, and I'm just very, very appreciative of the fact that you came up here today. Proclamation or no proclamation?
Well, I wanted to say goodbye, not really goodbye, because I'm sure I'm going to see you, but I wanted to just thank you for, as I said, keeping me company and a lot of other people company as I traveled the state of Ohio. And sometimes I was having trouble pulling you in a little bit. But
I know.
But that Reds network goes pretty far, though, as you well know. It's quite a network, and now we have satellites, so we can pull you in there too. So
here's a 2-2 pitch with 1 out and 1 on, and it's up high and a full count on Kurt Casale. Well, Governor, again, I thank you for coming by, and anytime you need any help, and I know sometimes you might get a bit overwhelmed by all the politics going on in Columbus, and you want a guy come up there to filibuster or whatever.
Well, how about a guy come up and shake things up? I bet you could do that, couldn't you?
I'd get everybody in trouble. Here's a high pop-up off first base, and it'll be handled by first baseman Yasmani Grandal for the second out.
He can shake it up for you, all right.
There'd be things going down that you'd never recover from.
He's always so timid and won't really say what he really thinks.
Oh, yeah, never.
He holds back too much.
Oh, my goodness. You got that right.
On a serious note, again, thank you, pal. I appreciate
Thanks,
you
Marty.
coming by.
Good being with you.
Guys, great to see you. Judge, good to see you. Thank you.
Hey, Marty, it's not a bad view up here.
No, that's why we never make any mistakes up here, Governor.
Thanks, Marty.
Take care of yourself. Thank you very
sir.
much. Thank you.
Good to see you.
That's Governor Mike DeWine of Ohio. And Kurt Casale takes a breaking ball, or Luis Castillo takes a breaking ball for ball 1. So 2 out in the inning. Castillo flied to left in the second. 4-1 Brewers here in the bottom of the 4th. And a strike is called. Count even at 1-1. Joined us late. Bad top of the inning for Castillo. Walked the bases loaded. Gave up a bases clearing 3-run double to Arcia. Ben Gamble followed with a 2-base hit. Hence the 4-run inning. Foul ball. I know you have your game face on, and we're going to come up in the 5th inning with the First Financial Scoreboard Stumper, which you absolutely dominate.
Yeah.
People constantly approach me and say, the guy's a walking encyclopedia of baseball. Here's a tapper to third, and the pick and the throw across by Shaw ends the inning. No runs, no hits, and error, 1 left. Thanks to Governor Mike DeWine for being with us as Luis Castillo goes back to the mound for the 5th time. He'll face the only man who did not face in the 4th inning, and that'll be leadoff batter Trent Grisham. He has retired him twice, and as promised, it's time for our scoreboard stumper brought to you by First Financial Bank. We go beyond banking by putting you first. First Financial Bank member FDIC. 7 players.
Oh, boy.
7 players who have been inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame have played for the Reds in my era. That's from 1974 to 2019. Who are they? Now, if you give that enough thought, let me see if there are any tough.
Johnny Bench.
There may be one tough one for you.
Doggy Perez.
All right, that's 2.
Joe Morgan.
That's 3.
Ken Griffey Jr.
That's 4. You got 3 more. You're doing pretty good, Bubba. I'm going to tell you 2 of them are pitchers, and this is going to give away one of them, and the other one's a shortstop.
Barry Larkin.
Okay, now you got 2 pitchers. I will say this, that both of these pitchers were not...
Tom Seaver.
Bingo. You got 1 left. I mean, and this one is going to be a tough one. You get this one right, God bless you. Foul ball by Grisham, 0-2 and holding.
Lee Smith.
Yeah. See, you cheated.
I was about to say it. He jumped in there with the reliever thing.
He whispered to you in your ear,
No.
say Lee Smith.
No, I played with Lee Smith.
Here.
Yes.
Yeah, but I figured you'd forget him.
Well, I'm just kind of going down.
That's
the
pretty
category.
good now. I'm impressed. On my last day ever here, I am very impressed that you ran the table, because I looked at that list and said, there's no way on God's earth he's going to get Lee Smith.
Well, I will tell you this. One of the greatest points of contention between myself and Ray Knight included one Lee Smith.
I can imagine.
And I mean, it was hot.
No holes barred, right?
No. Well, you know me, and you know Ray.
3-2 the count on Grisham. Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, Tony Perez, Tom Seaver, Barry Larkin, Ken Griffey Jr., and Lee Smith. That's a pretty good lineup of players, 7 who have gone to the Hall of Fame since I've been around. Foul ball out of play. I want to thank all of my family for being here. My daughter Dawn and her family coming from Chicago. Ashley, of course, and Tom and their kids here. And obviously, my foundation, wife Amanda, foul ball back. And thanks to our flagship station, 700 WLW Radio, for the nice gifts. And it was a very nice ballpark beginning today, and then looking forward to being on the field for 30 minutes or so after the game with the fans. High fly ball hit into right center, and Grisham will be retired for out number 1.
You know, when you read that type of question, Marty, and you start thinking back to the guys that were the great players here that are in the Hall of Fame, and the entire time that I'm going through that process of answering that question, I'm thinking of Pete Rose.
Yeah.
And I can't help it. And I don't care what your opinion is or what other people's opinion. I know what our opinion is.
Yeah.
But you can't help but think that. I mean, as soon as I think of Hall of Famers that played in a Reds uniform, he's one of the first guys that comes into my head. Can't help it.
I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that are saying, well, it's with great prejudice that they support the inclusion of Pete Rose in the Baseball Hall of Fame. But I've gone from one extreme to the other. When he was banned from the game, I was totally supportive of baseball's decision to do what they did. But
I was too.
But as years passed by, and we went through the steroid period, and the great home run race between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, who I will believe till the day I die that there were people in the position of power at Major League Baseball that knew it was happening. And
let it go.
Turned a blind eye to it.
Because it created a fury of fan coming to the
Exactly.
ballpark.
What they did was great for the game, but there are certain standards that are higher than that if you know something amiss is going on. 3-1 pitch to Grandal, and that's ball 4. And so I think as time has passed, that Hall of Fame will never be whole until the day comes that Pete Rose is in it. And my biggest fear is that one day he will be in it, but he will be elected after he is no longer with us. And if that should occur, that will be the grossest injustice of them all. So another walk charge to Castillo as he walks Grandal, his fourth walk in an inning and a third after not walking anybody in the first three. And here's Keston Hiura. And Hiura takes ball one. Hiura has grounded out. He's also had a base on balls. In fact, he had the second of back-to-back walks in the fourth inning that got things started downhill for Castillo. And here's a hard hit ground ball up the middle and into center field for a base hit. And here come the Brewers again, already with a 3-run lead, and they've got runners at first and second with only one out.
And the Reds have Kevin Gausman, who had gotten up when things got a little sideways in the fifth. He's back up again in the Reds bullpen.
Danny Pena struck out looking. That was the one batter that gave the fans, I'm sure, here a ray of hope after he had walked back-to-back batters. But then things continued to go sour for him. Here's a line drive into left, and that's a hit. And that ball is going to go all the way to the wall. It's going to get a run in. It's bobbled again by Josh Van Meter. The throw from the cutoff man is not in time. Out! He said out. And I guarantee you, Craig Counsell's going to look at that one.
That was a very weird slide for Hiura because when he reached for the plate, we see this many times where the spike hits the dirt in front of the plate and pops up. It looked like his left hand hit in front of the plate early and popped up and then reached back down. But the tag looked like it got there when his hand popped up.
And we're still waiting for a decision to come from the third base dugout and whether or not they're going to challenge that decision. And apparently they are not. I'll tell you one thing, I would have. But they've elected not to do it, and they've added to the lead. That'll be an RBI double by Pena, making it 5-1, and the outplay went from 7 to 6 to 2 to cut down Hiura at the plate. And the fastball is in for a strike.
Well, I thought when Van Meter went down to get the ball and bobbled it, they were not going to have a play on Hiura at the plate. But that throw from Iglesias, that was money.
Now the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Challenging with a high fastball. Hey, Josh Van Meter has a tough time on the defensive end of this game. He's had a really hard time in left field today. Trying to put him away with this pitch, and he does. A swing and a miss, and the inning is over. Brewers had another run.
All right. Reds will come to the plate. It'll be Jose Peraza, and today's Toyota Tundra Home Run Challenge contestant. That would be Taryn Egner from Lebanon, Ohio. And if a home run hit by a Reds player during today's game hits the Toyota sign, that's out in right center field between the PNC Power Stacks. Well, Taryn, you'll win a brand new 2019 Tundra, all courtesy of your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Taryn Egner, good luck.
Top of the batting order for the Reds, and their fifth turn at the plate. Jose Peraza looks at strike one. Reds have had only 4 hits. One of them a home run by Aquino in the first inning, and that is accounted obviously for their only run. There's a slowly hit ground ball to the right side of the mound, fielded by Anderson. The underhand flip to Grandal, and there's one out. And now Joey Votto, who has struck out and fly to right. Fans at Kroger, it's easy to place your order online and pick up at the store. Try it today at Kroger.com. Speaking of that, I had the pleasure of being at the brand spanking new Kroger store in downtown Cincinnati yesterday for the grand opening, and boy, what a spectacular facility that is. And it will be much visited by the residents of downtown Cincinnati. It was years in the planning stages, and it finally came to fruition yesterday. Here's a high pop-up out in shallow left. Shaw going back and near the line and in fair ground makes a catch for out number 2.
You don't see too many grocery stores in the downtown area, but it tells you about the livelihood of downtown Cincinnati right now.
Yep. I mean, by Kroger standards, it's 50,000 square feet, which is not a big store, but it certainly will serve the needs. And what is really cool is on the second floor they have something that they've never ventured into before with all of the stores that they have, and that is, for want of a better term, a food court on the second floor. All types of different foods, from barbecue to Asian food to hamburgers and fries. They've got a full-blown bar upstairs. It's really a cool store. And for those who live downtown or close enough so that would be their Kroger store to shop at, do yourself a favor and take a look at it.
That'd be a Kroger Deli times 10.
Yeah, that's correct.
Second floor, huh?
Yeah. 2 balls and no strikes on Aquino with 2 out. He's 2 for 2 today. In fact, he's had half of the hits the Reds have collected. Anderson pitches him away. It's 2-1.
Look, as long as they're serving that fried chicken up there, I'm good to go for Kroger.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Like I've told people, we got along so well over 13 years because there are certain things that both of us like. First and foremost is fried chicken. A slowly hit ground ball to second, and Hira had a long way to go, and his throw off balance kind of took Grandal away from the bag. That's almost got to be scored a base hit.
Never looked like Hira could get his shoulders turned and his feet set to make the throw.
Still waiting on a scoring decision.
That would have been a very close play, even if the throw was right on the money.
And they have scored on a base hit. So Aquino continues his perfect afternoon with the club trailing 5-1. And here's Josh Van Meter. Twice today he has hit off of Chase Anderson, and both times he's drawn bases on balls. Strike call. This will be the 89th pitch thrown by Chase Anderson. That pitch is up and in, and he's a ball to strike on Van Meter. Reds trail by 4 runs at 5-1 after leading 1-0 early. Brewers trying to finish off what would be a 3-game series sweep and head to Denver 1 game back. Ball strike.
Junior Guerra warming in the Brewers bullpen. Craig Counsell doesn't wait long. If there's any kind of threat of momentum change, boom, he's heading to the mound.
Well, it's worked so well for him here in the month of September. You ride that out. Now a 2-2 count. Anderson tried to end the year with an 8-win season. 2 out with a runner at first base. The stretch and to the waiting Van Meter. Pops him up but out of play behind the plate. You're listening to our broadcast on your car or your truck radio. Please remember to buckle your safety belt. This message brought to you by the Ohio Department of Public Safety. If you're not buckled up, what's holding you back? Two balls, 2 strikes, and holding. Reds have really not been able to muster much of anything with one exception. That was the third, but they put back-to-back runners on with 2 out. That one is hammered back into left field, but it will be caught short of the warning track by Spangenberg, and the beat rolls on for one.
Right-hander Kevin Gausman will come out of the Reds bullpen. Gausman overall in his 29 appearances is 3-9 with a 5.93 ERA. 17 of those appearances were starts. In a Reds uniform, he's 0-2 with a 4.82 ERA in 13 ball games. 1 start, 12 out of the bullpen. Brian O'Grady will take over in left field. He'll be in the 9 spot.
And Gausman going to work on Travis Shaw to begin the 6th inning. Working from the stretch, the former Oriole and Atlanta Brave delivers a breaking ball strike. The pitching line on Luis Castillo as he ends the year on a decidedly down note. 5 innings of 5 hit ball. He allowed 5 runs, all earned. He walked 4 and struck out 8. The 1-strike delivery, and that's just a bit inside to even the count at 1-1. Gausman back, and that's in the dirt. It'll be interesting to see if this guy who came over some time back from the Atlanta Braves after they placed him on the waiver wire, the Reds claimed him. He has started. He's also pitched out of the bullpen, more the latter than the former. There's a breaking ball, and the count's 3-1. If he survives the winter and is still the property of the Reds, what role they will cast him in 2020. There's obviously going to be, as we talk today, not knowing what the offseason holds, one spot open in the rotation. There's a rocket foul to right with Castillo and Trevor Bauer, Sonny Gray, and Anthony DeSclafani. And then whoever, most notably Tyler Malley, but from my perspective, he didn't help himself with what we saw here last night and what we've seen most of the year. Gausman could be in the mix. Gausman could be somewhere else. Here's a high pop-up that's out of play.
Well, I've got to believe that if you're going to pay a pitcher $10 million, it's not going to be to set up out of the bullpen. And I'd have a hard time believing that it would be to be a 5th starter.
Right.
That just doesn't make financial sense.
Off-speed pitch, swung on and missed, so he goes full on Shaw and strikes him out. 1 gone in the inning, and here's Orlando Arcia. He delivered the biggest blow of all in the 4th inning. A bases-clearing 3-run double. He now has knocked in 55 runs on the season, and he's 2 for 2 on the afternoon. Call strike. It's really kind of cool to be going into the final weekend of the season. There's a swing, and it's 0-2, and having some games that are meaningful. I mean, when you look at almost every one of the other divisions in baseball, save for the wild card,
it's over.
And this division right here, still up in the air is who's going to win it. Everything else is done with. So it's going to be fun to keep an eye out on Colorado, where the Brewers will be, and in St. Louis, where the Cardinals host the Cubs. Here's a swing and a fly ball headed to center. Phillip Ervin will gather it in, 2 out. Dan Gamble also drove a run in. In that 4-run 4th, he doubled to left on a ball that Van Meter gambled and came up empty on. So trying to knock him off in order is Kevin Gausman in his 1st inning of work. And the pitch. Gamble takes ball 1. Who's going to be the MVP in this league?
You might have a little toss-up there.
Ball strike.
I mean, you have Bellinger. You can't forget about what Yelich did for this ball club,
correct,
even though he's not here for the last really 3.5 weeks of the season. I think Anthony Rendon is in that conversation.
He's come out of nowhere.
And I think Peter Alonso is in that conversation. And I realize that he's playing for a Mets club that's not going into the postseason. But this kid is a rookie that's done something that's never been done in the National League before.
2 balls and 1 strike on Gamble, and the pitch, and it's strike 2 call. My choice is going to be Cody Bellinger. I mean, he's playing for the club that's going to win. That's already going to win more games than any other team.
Anybody else.
Yeah, in this league. 2-2 pitch, and a swing and a miss, and a good showing by Gausman.
Right-hander Junior Guerra will come out of the Brewer bullpen, coming on for the 71st time. Well, that's a lot of appearances. 9-5 record for Guerra, a 3.51 ERA. Only 55 hits in 82 innings for Guerra. You go from the rotation to that bullpen and do what he's done, that's the reason the Brewers are where they are.
You'll go to work on Phillip Ervin to begin things here in the Reds' half of the sixth inning, still down by 4 runs and a swing and a miss by Ervin, who has struck out and bounced to third in his 2 previous at-bats. Second appearance in the series. Here's the 0-1 pitch. And that's taken to even the count at 1-1 strike. Big event coming up. On October the 9th, it's been billed as a Marty Brennaman Cigar Dinner, presented by Encore Technologies, and it'll be Wednesday, October the 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. A deep drive to center field to the warning track, and leaping up and unable to make the catch is center fielder Grisham, and on to second, taking a wide turn and stopping right there is Phillip Ervin. So that is a leadoff double, and he hit that ball a ton, and Grisham could not quite get high enough to have a play on the ball. Ninth double of the year for Ervin, begging for somebody to drive him in now at second base, and here's Jose Iglesias. So Wednesday, October 9th, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Montgomery Inn Boathouse. Everybody in town knows where that is. $200 gets you an autographed item, a Montgomery Inn dinner, open bar, cigars, and I can personally promise you a lot of laughs. It'll be a good event. Spearheading it from the Reds' perspective, Bill Reinberg, and of course, a very good friend and a member of the ownership group, Dean Gregory, who presides over these events, which they've held for years and years and years. And I'm pleased that they're having one with my name on it. October 9th, 6 to 9 p.m. Here's a swing and a 1-bouncer hit to second. And Ervin will go to third as they throw Iglesias out. Second baseman makes the play, Hira. Proceeds will benefit the Reds Community Fund. And reserve your spot today going to www.ebrite.com/E/Marty/Brennaman/cigar/dinner/tickets/blah, blah, blah, blah. Going to be a good event. Hope you folks see fit to join us and have a good time. 1 out, runner at third. Here's Kyle Farmer. Swing and a foul. Fly to right, he's popped out to second. So they've had him hitting a ball in the air in both previous at-bats, with Ervin standing down at third base, and Guerra sets and deals, and it's swung on and looped into left for a base hit. Run will score. It's 5-2. That ball had just enough air beneath it and hang time that it was able to clear the left side of the infield. Shaw at third and Arcia at second. RBI base hit for Farmer. His 27th run batted in. The batter will be Curt Casale.
Doesn't matter how you do it, just do it.
He's also hit the ball in the air twice with a fly to left and a pop to second. Jams Casale, and he'll foul out to first base. Grandal has it. They're 2 out. So now Brian O'Grady, batting in the number 9 spot, will come to the plate for the first time.
Whether it's been Chase Anderson or now Junior Guerra, when they face Casale, they have just stayed hard and they stayed in.
And they've been able to do it successfully so. So here's O'Grady, a left-hand batter. Young man who also had a big year from a power perspective at AAA Louisville as he takes the first pitch strike. Been up a couple of times and had the thrill of hitting his first major league home run. It was a pinch hit homer late in a game out in Seattle, and it put the Reds in front, as a matter of fact, and then the Mariners came back and won it. The 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss.
That was a really good changeup. Right at the bottom of the strike zone. It was in the center of the plate, but you could tell O'Grady did not recognize it at all.
Now the 0-2 pitch with 2 outs and a run in. And he struck him out swinging, and that ends the inning. The Reds get a run on 2 hits. Inning number 7 about to unfold, and inning number 2 for Kevin Gausman, who faced 3 and retired 3 and struck out 2 of them in the last inning. The pitcher, well, actually a pinch hitter now, Tyler Austin, and outfielder by trade, will stand in to lead the inning off. Right-handed batter, and the first pitch completely away from the mid of Kurt Casale and back to the screen. 0-1.
All right, folks, it is time for Ask Marty. This is where we normally ask the Hall of Famer to give his thoughts on any subject, baseball or non-baseball, always presented by CBTS. But today is a little different. Reds Country is not going to ask you a question simply because this is the last ever Ask Marty segment. I think Reds Country wants to say the following. Folks out there, they love you, and they are going to miss you. I think you know that.
I do.
Thank you for your service as the voice, the face, and the connection for all of Reds Country to this great franchise. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, especially with your time and your willingness to be one of those and one of us. Thank you for the many great things that you've done in the community, and Lord knows you have done a million of them. Those known and the many unknown. Sometimes they've raised money, awareness, and the profile for so many organizations you've asked to help, especially the Reds Community Fund.
Tyler Austin flies to center for out number 1.
I'm not done yet. Thank you for shaving your head at home plate. That was big time, by the way.
That was unforgettable.
And thank you for allowing all of the folks in Reds Country to celebrate this season and coming back and allowing everybody to be able to say thank you, and for your patience that's been asked of you, because I know that there has been a lot asked of you, but I know that everyone is so appreciative to just be able to say thank you. Folks out there are so grateful, Marty, for being our guy for 46 years, and that you're looking good.
You ended that in typical Bradley fashion.
Better than twins. Everyone is going to miss the Titanic struggles, big boy. We look forward to hearing about your travels and your adventures with Amanda, and looking to having you still around. I mean, you may not be on the air, but you're still going to be here with the Reds and the Reds family. I would echo this sentiment as much as anybody. I love you. We love you. And I just hope you enjoy, as much as anything else, your well-deserved retirement. This is from your fans here in Reds Country.
Wow. I appreciate that.
That's pretty cool.
It gets to me again. I knew this was going to be a tough day. I appreciate that, pal.
Well, that's why I didn't read it in the fourth inning.
Wow. Grisham grounds to first, 2 out, and here's Grandal.
Look, you've made a lot of difference in so many people's lives, whether they be kids or whether they're adults, kids that are now adults. And everybody just wants to say thank you. I mean, 46 years, bro, that's a long time. Golly.
That's a long time. Like I said before, and I'll say it again, I'm sure I'll say it down the field when I'm down there with the fans. They don't owe me anything. I'm the one that owes everything. This town has been so good to me. And I mean, I'm dead serious. They don't owe me anything. I told the club I don't need anything. I owe these people so much because of willingly taking me in and opening their arms to me after Al Michaels left following 73 and me coming in here in 74 and never dreaming it'd be 46 years later, and I'm wrapping it up today. Fly ball to left, and Gosman has...
Pomerantz will come out of the Brewer bullpen. We saw him in Game 1. Pomerantz started the year as a starter. Had 18 starts out in San Francisco, 2-10, a 4.87. Things did not go well. The Brewers pick him up. He's 0-1 with a 2.25 in his 23 appearances, and he has been awfully good out of this Brewer bullpen.
Here's Jose Peraza, first pitch in for a call strike. He singled back in the third. He owns one of the 7 hits the Reds have collected off Brewer pitching. In fact, the Reds have out-hit the Brewers by 2, but that's of no major consequence because the Reds are still looking up at a 5-2 deficit. No balls and 2 strikes. And the breaking ball misses badly, down and in, 1-2 the count. Votto and Aquino also will bat in the inning, so the Reds have 9 outs in which to do something about avoiding a Milwaukee sweep. That is shot foul to right.
Well, Pomerantz wastes no time out there, huh?
No.
Just gets it, and here it is.
Back he comes, and that's a ground ball slowly hit by the mound. Hira is there, and he throws him out. Now Joey Votto 0 for 3. Western and Southern Financial Group wants to strike out cancer all season long. Every time a Reds pitcher strikes out a batter, Western and Southern will make a donation to the Barrett Cancer Center. As Western and Southern says, when it comes to fighting cancer, we are all in this one together. Votto checks, and that cost him a strike. And he went around on a pitch up and out of the strike zone. So Votto is looking up at an 0-2 count, and Pomerantz has come out of that bullpen throwing strikes. Junior Guerra worked an inning, allowed 2 hits and a run. He struck out a batter, but the Milwaukee bullpen, Votto has struck out again, pitched down and away, and he's out on strikes for the 2nd time today. Yeah, the kind of pitching they've gotten in this series is not an accident. In fact, they posted going into play today a 1.11 earned run average over their last 9 games. And during that time, the teams that they have played have swung the bat at a rather anemic 167.
And if you're really honest with yourself, this has been a patchwork ball game each and every day for Craig Counsell, putting together a matchup here, a matchup there. Starter maybe going 2 innings, sometimes 5, and then you turn it over and then you just start trying to make it work. Well, they've made it work.
1 ball and 1 strike on Aquino. 3 times up, 3 times he's had hits, including a home run. His 18th of the season way back in the 1st inning. That's grounded toward left and gloved by the shortstop, and the throw not in time. That's an infield base hit.
That is twice now Aquino has beat out an infield hit.
Well, that's going back to what we were talking about earlier today. He has deceptively fine speed. He takes such big, long strides with those long legs of his that I think most of the time you don't realize how fast this guy can get down the line. But that decision, rendered by Chris Conroy, is going to be contested by Milwaukee manager Craig Counsell. He has notified the boys in black that
that's close.
we don't agree with that call, so they're going to take a look at it. The Barbasol Close Shave Manager Review is brought to you by Barbasol Shaving Cream, same trusted formula, now available in a new Ultra Grip can. Better by Barbasol. So the replay, is he safe or out?
Normally I have a pretty good idea. This one looked like it was about even. But whether Aquino is out or safe, Marty,
He's out.
I think the biggest thing that you take away from that is how much he was hustling down
That is
the line.
correct. They overturned the
New pitcher for the Reds is right-hander Michael Lorenzen. Lorenzen, he's had a fine year, folks. 71st appearance for the Reds right-hander, 1-4 on the year with a 3.06 ERA. He's got 6 saves on the year, and he has come on like gangbusters out of this Reds bullpen.
He's going to work here in the 8th inning on Keston Hiura. He is 1 for 2 with a walk. So Kevin Gausman, 2 outstanding innings, faced 6 batters, retired them all, struck out 2. And Lorenzen delivers a first pitch strike. I've heard from a lot of folks in and outside the game. I talked with former NBA and ABA coach, and he and I were together in the old American Basketball Association, Hubie Brown, earlier today, and just got a text message from one of our favorite people. They call him Mud.
Oh, my goodness.
Mark Grant.
Mark Grant.
He is something now.
I came up with Grant.
Well, he's a former big league pitcher of little note who has become an outstanding broadcaster with the San Diego Padres.
I just remember him hitting his head on the airplane because he didn't have his seatbelt on when the plane dropped about 500 feet in a split second.
He hit it hard, didn't he?
Yeah.
Here's a foul ball just below our broadcast booth and a souvenir back downstairs.
He put it on real quick. And you know when you're ball-headed and you get a big knot on your head,
Yeah,
you can see it for about a week and a half.
I can relate to that. And Mark forms half of a very, very popular TV tandem out in San Diego Padres area. Hiura strikes out swinging. That is number 11. And rather fittingly, on this last home game of the year, that strikeout means that folks will get free La Rosa's pizza. That's the loudest roar we've had from the Red crowd today, and it's a sizable crowd at that.
Let's look back at our Cincinnati Bell trivia question of the game. The question at the time, how many future Reds managers played in the Reds' 1974 opening day contest? That was the first regular season Major League game broadcast by you, Marty Brenneman.
Yes.
Your choices at the time were A4, B3, C2. Your original answer was 4. And at that time, you were a little hesitant. You've had, about an hour and a half to think about it. So
You're killing me. Killing me.
do you want to stay with 4 after that hour and a half of thought? Or do you want to change it to 3 or 2? This is your last time
It is.
to do this, so don't screw it up.
I'm saying 4, and I'm sticking with it.
All right. Yeah, that's a country song, I think.
It is.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Here we go. The answer is A4.
There's Elvis.
That is Elvis.
He'd be looking good, isn't he? He's not pumping gas in Michigan. He's sitting there thinking about that McDonald's quarter pounder with cheese
Yeah.
he's going to have in
He
a while.
looks like he's eating about 8 of them. 4 future Reds managers appeared in the first regular season game broadcast by Marty Brenneman. Appearing in the game for the Braves that day were second baseman Davey Johnson, who managed the Reds from 93 to 95, and Dusty Baker.
Yes, indeed.
Who was the Reds manager from 2008 to 2013. Suiting up that day also Tony Perez, who managed the Reds in 93, and left fielder Pete Rose, who served as the Reds player manager at one point in time from 84 to 89. In each instance, Marty Brennan was behind the mic for the entirety of each of their Reds managerial careers, and it should be noted that when Johnny Carson, for those of you that know Johnny Carson, when he retired from The Tonight Show, he regularly sent jokes to David Letterman, who would often incorporate all of that into his monologue.
How about that?
With this in mind, Marty, if trivia questions occur to you in your retirement years, you know where to find us.
I certainly do.
Thanks for everything from your Reds Hall of Fame trivia team.
Appreciate it, guys. Very nice. Thank you. A 1-2 count on Corey Spangenberg, an inning in which Hira has struck out and Pena has struck out. And Spangenberg has struck out swinging, and the inning is over.
New pitcher on the mound for the Brewers. It is right-hander Devin Williams. Williams coming on for only the 12th time, a 3.75 ERA in his 12 innings pitch. He's allowed 16 hits. He's walked 6 and struck out 12. So the youngster back out there. There are other changes as well.
Yeah, they are. It took him 15 minutes to announce them. And here's the first pitch by Devin Williams, and it's taken for a strike. Tucker Barnhart pinch hitting here in the bottom of the 8th inning. They've got Gamble now in left. They have Tyrone Taylor in right field, and the infield is the same.
Well, no, they put Spangenberg at second base.
Oh, that's right. Spangenberg now at second, Grandal at first, Arcia second, Shaw third, Pena still behind the plate. So Tyrone Taylor in right, Grisham in center, Gamble in left, and Spangenberg in second. And the pitch, a breaking ball that misses, and it's a 1-2 count on Tucker Barnhart. And he checked his swing. No, strike 3 call, says play umpire Doug Edding. So Barnhart out on strikes. And with 1 out, here's Phillip Ervin, who led the 6th inning off with a 2-base hit. Came around to score what has been the Reds' latest run. That's really good. That's a flash bulletin there. Tucker's walking back to the dugout. We've just been informed Tucker Barnhart's a pinch hitter. Top of the fold information, man. Ball strike. And just missing the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. The bullpen today. Guerra worked an inning, gave up a run. Drew Pomerantz pitched his 7th, retired the side in order. And now here we are with Devin Williams in the 8th inning, and Irvin laid off that pitch, and it's a call strike. Now the 1-2 pitch, and that's hammered into left center field, and that ball will be fielded deep in the alley. Irvin has got to hurry up, and he will go into second base standing up with his second 2-base hit. Jose Iglesias 1 for 3. We said it last night when Tom and I did the game from down in the stands, and it bears repeating because all through this last couple of months, especially the last 2 weeks, I don't know how we would have gotten through it with all the demands, not only on my time, but also on Amanda's time, knowing that I was heading proverbially into the home stretch had we not had the help of Karen Forgus and Rob Butcher, and they just did off-the-chart jobs in alleviating some of the things that we were required to do and voluntarily committed to do. There's a swing and a foul ball. Rob, the media relations director for the Reds, and Karen, of course, working immediately under Phil Castellini. And she has just done a job that has brought all of this together and done it with such great grace and with great class. And I'll be indebted to those folks for all time.
They're awfully good at paving bumpy roads.
Boy, they really are. Robert Stevenson warming up in the Reds bullpen. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count on Iglesias. Philip Irving gets a walking lead out at second. Here's a pitch. That's a line drive to right. That's a hit. That ball goes toward the wall, cut off just short of it. That's back-to-back doubles by the Reds here in the 8th, and all of a sudden it's a 5-3 game. That is the essence of Jose Iglesias right there.
You got that right.
Ripping a line drive to right. An RBI double, back-to-back 2-base hits. Reds have crept to within 2, and I'm sure they hope they're not done yet. Quickly out to the mound goes Manny Pena. Plate umpire Doug Edding starts out there, and the meeting breaks up, and he signals to the press level that counts as a trip.
It doesn't take long for a catcher to come to the mound and say, hey, you got to get the ball down.
That's quick, isn't it?
That's pretty quick.
Now Farmer stands in, but as he steps in, Chris Hook calls timeout and makes a rather belated trip to the mound. Devin Williams was just getting ready to have at it with Farmer, and Hook scampered up the stairwell, threw his hand up in the air and said, hold on. Also want to thank the MLB Network. They, I feel like they've accorded me a rather high honor today. They've taken the local TV feed. They have used our audio. I was on with them just short of noon today, and a bunch of incredible facilities in New Jersey, and very, very nice people. And they have helped to make this a very unforgettable day for me and my family.
I think a lot of that movement right there with Pena going to the mound and then coming back, and then the stall with Chris Hook going to the mound after the fact, was giving time for left-hander Josh Hader to get loose.
So here's Farmer, and he has the ability to tie this game up with a swing of the bat. Run in, runner at second, 1 out, and he takes a strike.
Now the Reds have 2 right-handers throwing in their bullpen. One is Iglesias, one is Robert Stevenson. Stevenson if the game is tied, Iglesias if the Reds happen to go ahead here in the 8th.
The big swing and a foul ball, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. He got a base hit in the 6th inning to knock in a run as he floated a single out into shallow left. That would get it done here. The pitch, and it misses away. Five to 3 ball game late here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 1 out with a runner at second base, and Devin Williams turns it loose, and it's a swing and a miss, and that's all for Kyle Farmer, and he's out on strikes. Now, Kurt Casale is going to be taken down, and Eugenio Suarez is going to come to the plate to pinch hit.
Few players in their major league career can start hitting 5 or 6 home runs and continue to escalate each and every year. And he has been dramatic in his escalation over the last 3 years.
There is no question whatsoever. His name has been announced. And with that, Craig Counsell out of the dugout on his way to the mound. And that means that Suarez is going to be hitting apparently off Josh Hader. They're not going to leave it to Devin Williams to face a guy who hit his 49th home run of the season last night. So Williams will lead.
Looking for his 37th save. Well, these numbers pop. 134 strikeouts in 73 and a third innings. He's only walked 19.
He's been dynamic, and he's been intimidating, and he's been overpowering at times.
But he has given up 14 home runs, and that's what the Reds are counting on. Well, no, they're not.
Oh, boy, this is not a popular decision by this. They've intentionally walked him. And I don't know that that's a worst strategy in the world, to be honest with you. They walked Suarez intentionally. And now Christian Colon is going to come to the plate and pinch hit. So even though they have walked the tying run and now will be confronted by the go-ahead run, I don't think that Craig Counsell is overly concerned about that. So here's Colon, a right-hand batter. And Hader going to work. And it's foul back. Good swing by Colon. Down a strike. Young man had a fine year in Louisville. Was brought up a couple of weeks ago. He's had a couple of big hits for this ball club, including a game winner. That one is swung on and fouled. He shot that bad boy right by J.R. House, who stands by third base coaching standards rather close to the plate. And Colon now in a real hole against Hader. No balls and 2 strikes. 2 men on, 2 men out, 5-3 the score, Milwaukee. A run is in. Hader studies Pena. And now the left-hander stretches, drops his hands to the belt, raises the leg, and turns it loose, and it's fouled off again. Do you think that David Bell had a pretty good notion that they would walk Suarez when they sent him up?
I do. Especially knowing Hader was throwing in the bullpen.
Now coming with a strike 2 pitch again. Here it is. And a breaking ball gets away from the catcher. And both runners will move up. And Colon is hobbling around like he was hit by the pitch.
I think it hit Colon.
And I don't know that the plate umpire, Doug Eddings, even saw it. He was looking off to his right when the ball hit and then rolled all the way to the backstop. And so I don't believe he saw it.
It definitely hit the foot of Christian Colon. The Reds will challenge this, and they will prevail.
I mean, Doug Eddings did not see it at all. And now he walks over toward the Reds dugout to be met by David Bell. And it's going to be interesting here. Bill Miller's a third base umpire. He got a pretty good look at it. And now he's going to come in and join the conversation. And apparently David's very happy with the decision because that's exactly what he's going to get out of this. And that's going to be another look with a possibility of not overturning a decision because no decision was rendered.
Well, I think what David may have done going out to see Doug Eddings before actually saying I'm going to challenge is to make sure that Eddings did not say the ball tipped the bat, because if the ball had tipped the bat and then hit him in the back of the foot, you have no challenge there.
And they are going to say, go to first.
Yeah,
you're hit by the pitch.
That was academic.
So now the Reds are a base hit away from tying this game up.
Well, when you're Craig Counsell and you walk Eugenio Suarez to bring the tying run to the plate, you're not counting on your hammer to hit the guy that's at the plate. It happens.
So Peraza, the man on the spot, a .288 batter with runners in scoring position. He's had a hit today. He had 4 previous at-bats, a right-hand batter with his bases loaded, and 2 out here in the 8th inning. And Hader's first pitch to Jose Peraza is taken low, ball 1. This crowd now beginning to sit up and take notice about what has transpired here in the 8th inning. 1 ball and no strikes. They play him as an opposite field hitter. Runners lead at first, second, and third, and the 1-0 delivery is swung out and missed. Inning started, Tucker Barnard pinch hit and struck out, but then Irvin doubled to left center. Iglesias with an opposite field double and a run batted into right. Farmer struck out, but then Suarez announced as a pinch hitter for Casale. They walked him. Hader did, but has hit Colon to load the bases with 2 out. The 1-1 pitch is on the way to Jose Peraza, and that one is popped up. Fly ball into shallow right center field and caught at the last moment by the right fielder Taylor, and that ends the inning. That has been the essence of this ball club the entire season, the lack of key hitting. We go to the 9th, and the Reds trail by 2 on the Cincinnati Bell Reds Radio Network.
New pitcher for the Reds will be right-hander Robert Stevenson, coming on for the 55th time. Stevenson 3-2 with a 3.94 ERA in his 61 2/3 innings pitched. Christian Colon will stay in the ball game at second base, and second baseman Jose Peraza will move from second to left field. And that's where we stand.
And here we go into the 9th inning with Robert Stevenson going to work on Travis Shaw. And the first pitch to the left-hand batter misses for ball 1. 27,774 show up for today's Titanic struggle, 27,774.
And Eugenio Suarez stays in the game at third.
That ball is fouled off. He does that. Hopefully he'll get a ton of his bats over the weekend against the Pirates and hit about 4 home runs.
That'd be so big.
Go by Peter Alonso and win the home run title. 1 ball and 1 strike on Travis Shaw. Here's a pitch. That's a swing and a miss. Lorenzen goes 1 inning, and you can't do any better. He faced 3 batters and struck them all out and delighted this crowd of almost 28,000 with free La Rosa's pizza. And now Robert Stevenson comes with a 1-2 pitch. Struck him out swinging. Orlando Arcia with 1 out. I stopped today outside the ballpark to sign some autographs where those people gather off of Mering Way, and I was there for about 25 minutes, and I asked, this was yesterday, I asked a couple of guys, I said, who is the most consistent player that will stop almost without fail and sign autographs? And quite honestly, there are a lot of them that don't even acknowledge that those people are out there. And almost to a person, they said the player who always stops and signs is Robert Stevenson.
Good for him.
And that's a credit to him. The 1-0 pitch and a swing and a miss by Arcia. Reds will have their 2, 3, and 4 batters up in the bottom of the 9th against Hader. Arcia's had a big day, 2 hits, including a 3-run double. He's had the single most damaging hit off Reds pitching this afternoon. And a swing and a miss on a pitch up and in. You talk about retooling that bullpen, and the Reds are going to need some help in that area before the first pitch is thrown in 2020. I think Robert Stevenson found himself a home.
Yeah, this kid has made more progress than really anybody else on this club.
No question. And that one a shot foul to right.
And I'm sure there are folks that are listening that are shaking their head like, well, what? What about Luis Castillo? What about Eugenio Suarez? Look, from where Robert Stevenson was to where he is right now, he was on the cusp of not even being in the big leagues.
Right.
And he has really changed his fortune.
Here's a fly ball. He reaches for a pitch away, and that finds its way into the glove of Aristides Aquino. And they're 2 out here in the top of the ninth. And now Ben Gamble, who doubled in a run back in the fourth. He's 1 for 3.
If Robert Stevenson could throw the consistency of strikes in a starting role that he does out of the bullpen, he would have never gone to the bullpen to begin with. And I think he's much more comfortable now. I think he's more aggressive. The confidence is booming from what we saw when he first got here.
1-0 pitch, and that's down a ball, 2-0 the count.
Some guys pick it up quick. Some it takes a little while. But the bottom line is, if you want to stay here, you better pick it up.
Now the 2-0 pitch to Ben Gamble, a left-hand batter, is swung on and missed. The bullpen's done quite a job today. Kevin Gausman, 2 perfect innings. Mike Lorenzen, a perfect inning. They've not had a base runner since Manny Pena doubled to left to knock in their 5th run of the game, and that was back in the 5th inning. That's how good the relief pitching has been this afternoon. That ball is popped up over by the third base dugout. Suarez, does he have room? He does, and makes a catch, and that ends the inning. 3 men up, 3 men down. Final 3 outs to be played at Great American Ballpark in this 2019 season coming up.
700 WLW.
Josh Hader back to the mound as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Changes. Lorenzo Cain is now in center field, and Trent Grisham moves over to play right. Here's Joey Votto, whose bat has been stone cold quiet all day long, and he waves at a high fastball, and he's down a strike. Hader came on. He intentionally walked Suarez to low to put 2 on and bring the go-ahead run to the plate. He promptly hit pinch hitter Christian Colon. Their strike 2 call. And then ended the inning and left the bases loaded, inducing Jose Peraza to fly to right. So the Reds are shy a couple of runs, and Hader in the driver's seat against Joey Votto. He pitches, and Votto strikes out swinging. Third time today, Votto has struck out, and now Aquino, who gave the Reds briefly a lead in this game when he hit one to left and got out of here for his 18th home run in the first inning. He has had 3 hits and 4 times up, and he swings and hits a very high pop-up off of third. The shortstop calling and makes a catch. And just like that, the Reds are down to their final out. Alex Blandino is going to come off the bench and pinch hit for pitcher Robert Stevenson. So Hader getting a strikeout against Votto, getting Aquino to foul out, and now goes to work on right-handed batting Blandino. Here's a pitch. It's in there for a call strike. The left-hander turning it loose, the 0-1 pitch. And that's strike two call. This young man has been plagued since coming up by taking too many pitches. And he falls behind, no balls and 2 strikes. And he right now, quite honestly, he's at the mercy of Josh Hader. He flings it toward the plate. And a foul on a pitch upstairs, and was able to get the bat around and make contact. So barring something heroic with 2 outs and a 0-2 count on the pinch hitter, this Brewer ball club is going to be headed to Denver later on late this afternoon to take on the Rockies in a season-ending series. Only 1 game behind the St. Louis Cardinals.
Who'd have thought that?
Nobody, except maybe Craig Counsell. Here's the 0-2, and he went around. That's a strikeout, and that's your ball game. Josh Hader got out of a bases-loaded jam in the 8th. No suspense here in the 9th as he retires the side in order and strikes out 2. And in his final home game of the year, the Milwaukee Brewers have defeated the Cincinnati Reds here at Great American Ballpark. The final score, 5-3. We'll be back.